And we are recording. Art,
Okay.
Dan, welcome back to the channel.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
I wanted to do a weighted debate with the bodybuilding boys today. I've been doing some weighted debates with some personal trainers, but I said I want to do some fucking bodybuilding. And let's go raw here. So I said, who can I get for bodybuilding? I thought, well, my best buddy who's a bodybuilder and my other best buddy who's a bodybuilder. I said, okay, I can get these guys on. All right, so we got some topics to debate today. We might agree, we might disagree, but at the end of the day, we can still come out in the corners and all still be friends, hopefully, right? So guys, let's get started. So first topic today, has technology improved all aspects of the gym experience, in your opinion? Art, I'm going to go to you on this one first.
Okay, sure. So first of all, I think I have to say, what is technology when I say that? And I include things like music, YouTube, websites, and even the physical structures like the machines in the gym. So for me, all of these things are just conduits for passing on the increase in knowledge that's happened around bodybuilding over the last 20 or 30 years. And maybe what I should really say is the potential for a good gym experience has improved. Because it really depends on the people using it to, if they're willing to listen, if they're willing to learn, if they're willing to research and read and all of those things, then I think the improvements in the gym experience over the last 20, 30 years has been huge. So, I mean, I thought of myself as a personal example. When I started, we didn't have any of these things. There weren't even Walkmans, right? You
what year was that?
Listen to your own music.
What year was that?
Oh, that was 1973.
we weren't even born yet, Dan.
No.
So we had nothing, right? And actually, even gyms were almost non-existent the way we know them now. There were mostly racquetball courts and squash courts. And maybe some of them had a universal gym stuck in there somewhere. Either that, or there was an old junky gym equipment somewhere, which, we call it old school now. But those were pretty few and far between. So when it comes to things like music, you see almost everybody now in the gym has music going on when they're working out.
Yeah.
And for years, I used to do that too, until all my stuff got stolen. And then I just didn't replace it.
Yeah.
But, and now I've got used to working out without it. But it really can be an improvement in your workout experience if you're getting pumped listening to that music, if it's the right music.
Yeah. Which
obviously is different for different people. So, that's one example of where technology, with both the music itself, but even how it's delivered to you in a very personal, private way, has improved the gym experience for a lot of people.
Sure.
Right now, without it, I kind of get into a zone when I'm working out, so I don't really listen to music much anyway. I guess for me, even without it, the clanking of the weights in the gym, that's my music, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So that works for me. So music isn't essential, but it does help.
Yeah.
YouTube, huge information sharing platform.
Yeah.
There's so many amazing, good information, good education, great advice out there. And you can get all kinds of things from workout programs, just a guidance in terms of technique, for everything from powerlifting to weightlifting to bodybuilding, everything. Same with websites. There's a lot of big companies like bodybuilding.com, even BPI. They have their own little section with training videos, workout programs, lots of good information. Some of them are small. You might have to sift through some crap.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
It's possible. It's possible to get some good stuff out of all that.
Yeah.
Of course, you've got the big names like Dorian Yates or Lee Haney or some of the others, Jay Cutler. Some of them do their own training videos.
Yeah.
So that's always good stuff too. But even the physical structures of the weights that you use, the machines they've developed, all of these, because of technology, they've improved. They've studied how the body moves, how it responds to certain tensions. So those have improved too. Again, I don't want to dwell on it, but when I first started, we had basically free weights. There might be a universal machine in there, which has all the stations in sort of one spot, all the cable stuff.
Yeah.
And then maybe occasionally a Nautilus machine of some sort, but it was the old style Nautilus, not the new ones we see now. So that's really improved a lot. I mean, there's still a lot of goofballs out there who use the squat rack for texting and doing curls. Right?
The goofballs. Go on, buddy.
We got to think about goofballs. Anyway, yeah, continue.
And I'm always amazed that here's these guys in the gym. You would think they would have at least seen the memes on Facebook about, texting in the squat rack or something.
Yeah.
It all goes over their head, right? It's like they don't see it.
Yeah.
And you still got the people who don't clean up after themselves and leave the racks or the weights fully loaded.
Drives me insane. Oh my god. Yeah.
And this one is one that drives me insane when some guy walks up to the dumbbell rack and starts working out right in front of it.
Yeah.
So you can't get at the weight.
Yeah.
Take a step back.
Yeah.
So you still have that contingency you have to deal with, because you'll never get rid of those people. But overall, it's my contention that technology has vastly improved the gym experience. And I think for a segment of our society, namely women, you really see how they've come along in terms of doing bodybuilding and weight training. And I mean, they only do leg exercises for the most part, but still, they do amazingly. They're like, I'd say at least 30 to 40% of the people at the gym now are women who are doing really well. Yeah. And they train with good form, so it's encouraging to see all that.
Well,
I think technology has been really good for the gym.
Okay. So Dan, what's your opinion on this? Because you and I have talked about this on our last podcast together. What's your opinion with technology when it comes to, let's say, the phones, all the YouTube, the videos and all this stuff? Do you think it's actually been beneficial to the gym? Has this improved the actual components of training in the gym atmosphere?
Overall, yes.
Yeah.
It depends how you use it.
Yeah.
Like when we were coming up, we trained at the West End Community Center, right?
Yeah.
And I was learning my form and how to work out from who I thought were the biggest guys there. And when I look back on it now, and I've gone back since, I'm like, I'm way bigger than these guys. I can't believe I thought these guys were big at the time. But anyway, so that's who we were learning from. We didn't have access to, online programs.
No.
We did. As far as coaching, there wasn't really online coaching then.
There wasn't.
So the only access we had to coach was whoever was locally available, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Which sometimes wasn't the best resource.
No, not at all.
So I think the potential is so much greater thanks to technology. If I had like a coach of my caliber to work with when I started working out, I would have been where I am now, like long ago,
Right. Yeah.
So, and just like, even if you don't have money for coaching, you can go online, you can go on YouTube, watch like professionals work out, learn the form. There are diets online to follow. So in those regards, I think technology has improved things a lot.
Let me ask.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I think there's still a huge place for that personal trainer, like for myself for sure, and I probably Dan too, where when you're doing a contest prep, just to have that person there, despite all the knowledge and experience we've gained, to have that person there to guide us along and have that objective eye to say, no, you need to do more of this or less of that, which is, for me personally, I need that, and it worked, right?
Right. Well, let me ask you this though, Dan. I'm going to ask you this first. When it comes to like people recording their workout videos in the gym and uploading them online, what's your opinion on that? I mean, okay, so there's two different views on this. I mean, for Dan and I, we're both trainers. We're online trainers. We work with people in person. So a lot of that stuff that we videotape is actually for our business. So it's marketing per se. But then you got the average person who's just training in the gym and they're filming. They got their selfie stick out, and I mean, they've got a regular 9-to-5 job. And I mean, I don't know why they're putting their stuff up on YouTube and stuff, but Dan, what's your opinion on this with people filming their workouts in the gym?
I think if you're a coach, it's great. Like I post my stuff all the time, right?
Yeah.
And it's a good resource for my clients to have, workout ideas and to see the form of how I'm doing things, right? Because a lot of my clients work with me remotely, right? So I'm not necessarily in the gym showing them how to do things.
Right.
So if they can go to my Instagram and use that as a resource to see the proper form for exercises, then it's good. But if you're not really a coach, I don't really know what would be the point of posting your workouts all the time, except maybe just growing a following. I don't know, but
yeah. What do you think about that, Art?
Yeah, that's one of my pet peeves is people who are obviously not coaches, and you see them posing in front of the mirror just to get that nice little shot or that bum shot or whatever. I kind of shake my head at that. I don't say anything, I just carry on with my workout. To each their own, I guess. But it's obviously for Instagram and no other purpose. And
my view on it, I've learned to change over the years, because when Dan and I were coming up, like Dan said, we started at the West End Community Center, which for people who don't know was just like the old school squat racks, barbells, dumbbells. I don't even think there were any hammer strength machines there.
No,
right?
No hammer strength.
Dan and I, we grew up like you did in a way. We were just learning free weights. And when we were training together, getting ready for contests back in the day, the majority of the exercises we chose were primarily free weight exercises. We would do old school barbell squats. We would do deadlifts. We would do bench press. That's how him and I, we learned how to train. I think what happens though over time though is that I'm worried about this is that as the new generation continues to come up there, it's always for the gram, doing it for the gram. And I find right now in my own gym, I put up a few videos of myself training in the gym, but it wasn't to get likes or to get followers. It was more so, again, like Dan said, so my clients can see proper form, proper execution. And I actually found it distracting. I would do a quick, I take out the selfie stick, or if I had a friend filming me, quick video of me doing the exercise. And okay, we're back into it. I still to this day, and maybe I'm a little bit old school, because Dan, I know you film a lot of your stuff. I find it somewhat distracting. I do. I still find it distracting. I kind of hate doing it, but I also know that for Dan and I, it's actually needed now, especially with the younger generation. If him and I want to get clients, we have to post that stuff. And even for our current clients, just to see proper form, proper execution, especially for our online clients. Would you agree, Dan?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, technology has its place in the gym for sure. But I think there's the good and the bad. I agree with you when it comes to the music, because back when we all used to train at this old bodybuilding gym named Pantheon, we could Dan and I used to go in and we would put our own music on the stereo and just blast it. Nobody said anything to us. We would put on whatever we felt like. If we wanted to listen to gangster rap, we wanted to listen to old school rock, nobody said a thing. But in most commercial gyms, you can't do that. You have to listen to what we call the safe music, right?
I'm not a fan of like wearing headphones when I train.
Right.
So I appreciate a gym that plays decent music.
Yeah, I'm lucky. My gym, at least when I'm there first thing in the morning, they do play some decent music. And some of the old timers will walk up to me because they think I'm sort of the same mind as them. And say, complain about the rap or the hip hop. And I'm thinking, this is great. I love this.
I can tell you guys both from, being a gym owner, it's hard to read the room sometimes, especially if you have like a 65-year-old client in one area and then you got a 20-year-old bodybuilder in another, and they're training, and it's like you can't put on Miley Cyrus, or maybe you can. Who knows? Some people like that. So you have to kind of read the room sometimes, right? But for the most part, if I'm training on my own, headphones go on. Guys, let's switch to the second topic today. I want to go to switch gears over to the diet trends that are going on in the industry these days. Clean eating versus dirty bulk, for example, when it comes to bodybuilding, these reverse diets that people are going on. I hear a lot of, diet trend. You guys both know there's tons of diet fads out there, from anything from keto to intermittent fasting. It goes on and on. Reverse bulking, like you said. Clean eating versus dirty eating. I mean, what's the definition of each, really? Dan, I want to go to you on this first. What's your view on these current fad diets that are going on in the industry?
So many, bro. What's the biggest one now? I don't know. Like paleo has been pretty big. The carnivore diet.
Yeah.
You know, people eating like raw meat now, like some crazy stuff, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we did the keto diet. That was really big for a while.
We did
didn't
that
have
back,
like
what, 2009?
11.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 2000. Yeah, 2010, 2011, we did the keto diet.
Yeah.
But I mean, like we didn't have the best results with it.
No.
And now, like, there seems to be a big debate on like whether you should like really bulk up in your off season and just try to put on as much weight as possible, or if you should stay really lean and just try to make lean gains.
Yeah.
And then you hear this term being thrown around a lot now, reverse dieting.
Yeah.
So this refers to when somebody diets down for a show and then they slowly reverse out of that diet by very gradually adding calories back in.
Yeah.
Now, I have an opinion on this for the most part.
Yeah.
I think it's a waste of time.
Okay.
You don't need to reverse out of a diet so slowly. You're wasting precious off-season time when you could be growing.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So like you don't need to come out of a diet as slowly as you went into it, you know?
Yeah.
I would probably just like jump up by like 500 calories or more right away and get growing. But and then as far as staying lean or bulking up more, I think it really depends on you as a person and how your body likes to be. Like for me, my body sits at a pretty lean weight naturally, you know, and I can grow in that state. But a lot of people, they're not comfortable. They have to really diet hard to maintain that level of leanness, and they're not going to grow in that state. So for most people, they need to get a little bit fluffy to put on muscle.
Right.
Mhm.
Art, what's your view on this with all these diet fads that are going on? We're talking not just in the bodybuilding industry, but also in the fitness industry as a whole.
Yeah. The reverse dieting is interesting. I understand why some people do it, because they, as soon as they get that taste of forbidden food or the extra calories, it's like they fall off a cliff and they can't help themselves. And they just kind of go crazy. So if they have a structure to follow, I think for some people, at least, it helps them control that whole process of getting back.
Sure.
Dan is super disciplined, so for him it's okay. He can manage that in the way he does. But I know some people, there's no way they could handle that, right?
Yeah, you're right. You are right. Yeah.
To jump back into it.
Yeah.
I've never tried a keto diet or paleo. They're just, for me, just far too restrictive, right? They're just too one-sided. And I prefer to have balance. I need my carbs just to keep my brain functioning properly. And even when I do diet down for a show, it affects me, right? I can feel it. So I to even go more extreme than that and into a keto or paleo, for me personally, it just wouldn't work. So I've never even bothered with it. But I understand, if I remember right, I think, Nick, that you were onto a bit of a vegetarian thing there for a while.
So was Dan.
Right? How did that work out?
Yeah.
Oh, what? I'm curious to hear what you guys say the results were of that.
You know what's interesting? I'm just going to say before Dan trips in here, Dan was actually, he went on a vegetarian before I did. And then I did it purely just because I just wanted to try it. And I work with some vegetarians. I'm like, okay, let me see if I can do this. And I honestly can tell you, the only thing I noticed I had to be, and Dan, you might agree with this, is that I had to be very careful with my protein sources, because my protein sources like beans and lentils, they contain carbohydrates. So I had to be very careful with how I supplemented in my carbohydrates as well. So if I was doing, let's say, a cup of brown rice or some sweet potatoes, yams, quinoa, I'd usually cut that in half to make up for my protein, which actually consisted of carbohydrates as well. So that's one of the things. And I have about, I think, 5 or 6 vegetarians that I work with on my roster. And that's one thing I pay attention to when I'm doing their nutritional plans is their protein sources. I'll put in their vegetarian sources for sure. But then when I put in, like, say, their rice or the sweet potatoes, yams, quinoa, oatmeal, whatever, I'll usually cut it in half because there's already carbs in their protein sources. But I can tell you, as far as my energy levels in the gym, they were fine. I just, at the end of the day, it wasn't a diet that worked for me just because I like eating meat, but my version of meat is primarily fish these days, fish and white meat. What do you notice when you run a vegetarian diet then? Because you did it for quite a long time too.
Several years. I actually did like fully vegan for
Fully
2
vegan,
years.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I agree. The challenge when leaning out is the extra carbohydrate intake,
Yeah.
right? So you do so. Yeah, a lot of your protein sources are going to have carbohydrates in them, right?
Yeah.
So then you do want to take into account, and you're not going to add as much rice and other carbs because you already have that.
Yeah.
Also, if you are using a vegan protein powder, then that makes it a lot easier because those are pretty low carb and just they just isolate the protein, and then it makes it a lot easier if you're cutting down to keep your carbohydrates low.
They taste like crap though. I don't know. Maybe you found one that tasted good.
It depends. It depends. Like I found one by Vega that was pretty decent, but yeah, a lot of them are not so good. You definitely have to shop around. It's very different if you haven't tried it. Like a lot of them are pretty gritty, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as like strength and workout performance, I was unaffected, but I am somebody who already knows a lot about dieting, and I know how to get all the macros and micros that I need. So I made sure I had those covered even while being a vegan. Someone who doesn't know much about diet could easily run into nutrient deficiencies, right?
Yeah, and I do work with a lot of vegetarians, and the number one complaint they have when they come to work with me is usually they struggle with their weight, and it's because it's a surplus of carbohydrates entering your system. So then you got to explain to them your protein sources contain carbohydrates. We got to scale back on your complex carbohydrate sources, and that usually solves the problem. You know, maybe you increase your healthy fats, and that usually balances it out. But I personally didn't have a problem doing a vegetarian diet. I just find, honestly, it just comes down to laziness. It's much easier for me to cook up my salmon and my cod. It really is. That was it. But if someone said to me,
eating out, it's much harder if you're a vegan, right?
It is, But you definitely can make results. And I always tell clients, because a lot of people, you know, I get a lot of coaches that I inherit clients from other coaches who say, no, you can't gain muscle unless you eat meat. That to me is complete bullshit. It really is. You can totally gain muscle, lose body fat if you're on a vegetarian or vegan diet. 100%. Yeah. So,
well, there have been several high-profile pros who are vegetarian. And they've managed to do it. So
it's just, you still have those old school coaches, right, Dan, who just think it's black and white, and you have to do it this way. You have to, and it's like that. Those are the guys who have their clients running on the treadmill with garbage bags over themselves to lose body fat. Like, it's just like, it's bad. They're stuck in the 80s still, and it's just ridiculous. And that's why I like picking Dan's brain, because he's actually open to new ideas. Like, he's always like, okay, this works, but well, maybe there's something better out there that we don't know about yet. Let's try this. Right? I want to ask you, actually, why did you decide to switch back to meat when you were prepping for your next shows?
Convenience. Just like,
it was purely,
it's just easier, you know. I don't have to plan everything out as much. I could just be like, here's my chicken, here's my rice, I got my protein and my carbs covered. It's you know.
Totally. Guys, I want to switch to the final topic today. Are bodybuilders bad in business? And here's the thing. Okay, so I consider myself as a ex-bodybuilder. I don't really train for shows anymore. I still bodybuild. I still lift like a bodybuilder. I still actually do all my workouts. I do a 6-day training split, probably like what you do, but I don't compete anymore. But one thing I noticed with a lot of bodybuilders, they're lazy. They train in the gym. They train for that hour super hard, and then after that, that's it. Their business goes to shit. They don't put any effort into either their social media or if they're training clients. Anything. That's it. The whole thing is about getting ready for their show. That's it. Or I wanted to go to you on this first. I mean, you managed to have a successful career and still compete in local bodybuilding shows and do quite well. What do you think? Are bodybuilders lazy when it comes to business?
There, like you said, there can be that tendency because they're so focused on that one aspect of their life. And that aspect does take a lot of energy. It takes physical energy, which will tire you out mentally as well. The discipline surrounding it. It's not just the hour or two that you spend in the gym, or maybe 2.5, whatever. It's all the food prep you have to think about all the time, right? So it's always, and even for a competition, it's always in your mind because you're always sort of working on it. So I can see how running a business would be very, very difficult for most people to do that and be at a high level competitive kind of a person.
Yeah.
But having said that, there are lots who have done it,
Yeah.
and they take that same discipline that works in the gym and in their competition life, and they apply it to other areas of their life. And if they can apply that discipline elsewhere, they can accomplish anything.
I agree. Dan, what do you think about this? Are bodybuilders lazy when it comes to business?
Somewhere.
Yeah.
You have some bodybuilders who just want to train and then the rest of the day just sit around on the couch,
Yeah.
eat a meal, then go watch some more TV,
Yeah.
And hey man, for the ones who can get away with it, great. But like in today's age, you don't have the massive supplement or magazine contracts to pay you to just sit on the couch and train. So pro bodybuilders now, they still have to have another job, to pay the bills. So I mean, I don't know if you've heard some of like what Fuad said. He's admittedly he was pretty lazy, like when he was bodybuilding.
I've heard him say that. Yes.
And he would just he just wanted to train and then sit around,
Yeah.
But now, since he's kind of retired, he's taken his discipline that he used for bodybuilding, and now he's like built a very successful podcast and a supplement company now. So yeah, it definitely can be done. Jay Cutler was an amazing bodybuilder and an amazing businessman, So
that's what I was saying on the last channel that him and I did a podcast together. I was saying to him, in my opinion, Jay Cutler was a great bodybuilder, but he was even a better businessman.
Yeah, he's even better. Yeah.
And he knew how to apply it. And in my opinion, when you're bodybuilding, your career is very short. I mean, if you get 20 years out of it, great. That's amazing. Like not everybody's a Dexter Jackson. That doesn't happen, right? We can both agree that not everyone is going to be training at the pro level circuit until they're in their early 50s. That doesn't happen. No. So you should use that time. And like Dan said, especially because the magazines and the supplement contracts, they're gone. They don't exist anymore. You have to really be marketable. And if you're just that guy, the years of training like Dorian Yates, remember Dan, like in art back in the gym, you never see anything from Dorian Yates. All you do is get ready for these shows and you never see him again. Like you pop up on stage, win the Mr. Olympia, and then you wouldn't see him for another 11, 12 months. And then you see him pop up on stage, win another show. You can't do that anymore. You have to remain marketable. No. And as much as I hate it, and I'm not a competitor anymore, but for my business, I have to be on social media. And if you're not on social media, I'm not saying that you can't be successful, but in our industry, in the fitness industry, you're not relevant. And let's face it, how many people really look at websites anymore? The first thing they're going to do when they want to look at you as a coach or trainer, they're going to go and they're going to just go Google search. They're going to look at your Instagram. They're going to look at your Facebook newsfeed just to see what you're doing, right? So I think it's important to stay relevant. Like that, you have to actually keep up, and you can't be lazy. And you can apply everything you've learned, especially at bodybuilding, because bodybuilding does teach you how to be disciplined and how to be focused. And if you apply that to business, man, you can be incredibly successful, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, for sure. I mean, even Arnold, he's a really great example.
Perfect example.
I mean, from day one, like before he made any money, he was already investing,
Yeah, he knew.
Starting his little business. Yeah, he knew.
He knew. But I want to ask you, though, because you do have a successful career. I mean, you're a very successful person, and you still managed to, you're not competing like at the same level that Dan's competing at, but you still competed and you still did place very well in shows. Did you find it hard to balance the two?
Yeah, I did. I was lucky because when I would, so for my career, I'm a lawyer. And for the first 12 years of my practice, I had my own practice.
Right.
But I wasn't competing then.
Yeah.
After 12 years, I sort of dumped my private practice, and I joined the Federal Department of Justice, where I've been ever since. And just being there gave me some more flexibility. And that allowed me to carry out more of a balanced life altogether. So that allowed me, to have a completely full career, with everything that entailed, in addition to a great personal life where I was able to actually do competitions.
Yeah.
And take that, what was just a workout hobby to a whole new level.
Yeah.
And so I've been fortunate that way. It's still not easy, you know, when you have big meetings coming up or a really big important case.
Yeah.
You sort of have to put everything else in the background mentally while you resolve that or work your way through that. And that includes the passion that you might otherwise take to the gym. And you just sort of have to confine that a little bit more to that 2 hours. You can't take that into the rest of the day with you. It would just be too distracting and too hard.
Right.
So it's possible. It's not easy, but it can be done. I mean, I'm no brilliant person, and I'm no super high energy alpha type A person, but I managed to do it. So you know, it can be done.
It can be done.
It's the discipline is what it is. I think just the day-to-day drudgery discipline, and that will allow you to do a lot. Somebody said 90% of success is just showing up. And that's what it is.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Show up at your job, show up at your office, show up at the gym. And once you're there and doing it consistently, you'll have that success.
Dan, what about you? When you're like, let's say you're 2 weeks out from a show and you're depleting yourself. I mean, do you still take on clients, or do you say, hey, like,
I didn't stop training my clients. No,
nothing.
I kept everything going. Yeah.
You know, so did I. When I used to compete, I remember actually training right up to the day of the show. And then I would go and I'd do the morning show, night show, and I'd be right back at the gym training clients the next day. Because I knew, I mean, especially at the level that I was at, I'm at an amateur level. This doesn't pay me anything. My bread and butter comes from my business. So you have to go for, at the end of the day, what's paying the bills? Not bodybuilding, not for me anyway. Maybe for you one day, because you're getting quite good at it. You're getting into national level. I mean, I was saying to Dan last time, I'm going to predict this now, not jinxing him. I'm not just saying this. I know I'm biased because I'm his buddy, but he's going to get his pro card 2022, 100%. I'm going to make that prediction right now. Okay. Would you agree?
All right.
Yeah. And you know what though? But Dan is smart though, because he's on social media and he's not showing off. He's not like taking stupid fucking butt selfies or shit like this. Like, he's actually showing his progress, and he's showing like he's at correct form in the gym. So he's actually one of those guys who's marketable, and he's always on social media, which is so important these days. And I'm sure that works for your business, because you're getting a lot of that younger generation who looks at the Instagram. That's what they look at, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's important. And that comes back to the first topic of technology. And I think technology does have its benefits. It also does have its negatives as well, though. Like you said, texting and the squat rack and shit like that. I don't like that. But that just comes to pretty much just ignorance for people, right?
And those people, you can't get rid of them. They're always going to be there, right?
Definitely. Guys, I want to thank you both for coming on the Weighted Debate. I'd love to do another one with you both again. It's fun. Sure. I like doing them with the trainers, but I kind of want to do them with the bodybuilders, because the trainers I work with, they don't really do bodybuilding. So it's fun to talk about what's going on in the industry. And maybe we can get back on in the next week or a few weeks and give our Arnold predictions, because Arnold Classic's coming up when then?
It's on the 6th of March.
6th of March. Yeah. And I heard Regan Grimes, he's doing it now, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. I thought he said he wasn't going to do any more shows, and I saw on Milo Sarshev that he's actually going to be doing the Arnold.
Yeah. So all my money's on Brandon to win it, but
you think so?
Yeah. Unless, I think so.
Well, Curry won. What was it? 2019, Mr. Olympia, or 2020? Which one was it? 2019, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 2019. Yeah.
Yeah, he's coming back for redemption.
Because Nick won it. Nick won 21. Was it or did Brandon win the 20? Brandon won 2020, right?
Yeah, Brandon. I think so.
He won 2020. Yeah.
Well, actually, before I let you both go, I want your opinion. Are you following up on the current scene in bodybuilding?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want your opinion.
Loosely.
Yeah. Do you know about this Nick Walker guy who just won the Arnold Classic last year? Okay. So I want both for your opinion, because he's making some pretty bold predictions, and he placed, what was it? He was like 4th at the Olympia. Was that right? Fifth. Okay. Yeah. 5th at his first Olympia. That's like almost like Phil Heath caliber right there, right?
And won his Arnold debut. So
yeah, he won his Arnold debut. He's taking this Arnold off. He's going to compete at the Olympia again. Do you, in your opinion, Dan, do you think this guy's legit? Do you think he's going to be a top 3 at the Arnold next year?
At the Olympia?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Olympia. He's not competing at the Arnold this year. That's right. Yeah, yeah.
I think he has a good shot. I would not bet money against him because he's proven everybody wrong so far. So yeah.
What do you think, Art?
Well, I think he'll top 5 for sure, probably top 3.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has quite what it takes to be number 1 yet.
No, I agree.
Do either of you think, because I know Arnold made a statement about this, do either of you think his varicose veins are going to play an issue with his placing, Dan?
No.
You don't
I
think
think
so?
it's just I think it's just Arnold's preference. Yeah.
He likes pretty boys, yeah.
Yeah, he likes without the
He
veins,
does.
you know.
He
He's
does.
too freaky.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Art? Do you think the varicose veins are going to play a role at all?
It depends. I kind of doubt it. Not at the Olympia. We see some pretty freaky stuff there sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can always just get those lasered off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big Remy, he's got he's huge, right? He's got a weird physique though. I mean, in a way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But he wins. So
I think if Ramy comes in shredded, nobody's even close to him. I think if he just comes in a little bit more conditioned than he was last year, there's nobody even. He's like the Ronnie. If he comes in condition, he's like the Ronnie in 2003, right? Okay, nobody's a Ronnie in 2003, but he's like a Ronnie.
The closest thing to it.
Yeah, he comes close to it.
Yeah,
so guys.
Yeah, and he went right to work after this last one too, right? He went.
Yeah.
You see how much he weighs right now? He's
what is it, like 300?
Like 340 right now.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That maybe he's healthy. I don't know. But you know what I'd like to get you guys back on for, if you'd want to, is this. I want to talk about what's going on in the industry of other things right now too. If certain cases that are going on. Yeah, Aaron Singerman, I'd really like to get your opinion on this one. I'd love to get you guys on, because again, the people I have on for the weight debates, they're trainers. They don't know much what's going on in the bodybuilding industry. You guys are up on it, so I'd love to talk to you guys about this stuff. Get your opinions. We'll have to get you back on. We'll do an Arnold prediction in the next few weeks.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming on. This episode will probably be up later on this week. Probably about Friday. So something for people to look forward to. Our weight debate with the bodybuilding boys. Right? Dan, when's your next show? Before we go, when's your next show?
I haven't decided, but I have been tossing around the idea of doing the Arnold. So
okay, so next time I get Dan on, he's going to be getting prepping for the Arnold, which is when is it? March?
Yeah, I think the Arnold Amateur is the 4th.
Perfect. Good.
Yeah.
We'll get you on for that.
Great.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of it. Thanks so much for coming on, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you guys later on. Bye.
See you.